The stars were silent. No war, no movement, just quiet space. But deep inside Earth's forgotten ship graveyard, something old opened its eyes. It was not alive, not truly. But it remembered its purpose. The warship ESV Retribution had not moved. In 50 years, covered in space dust, floating between broken ships, it was a ghost. Its engines were cold. Its guns were rusted. The world had moved on without it. Then, without warning, a signal came. Emergency alert. Earth defense grid destroyed. Unknown fleet approaching. Activate protocol. Final stand. Inside the ship, one small red light blinked. Systems that hadn't worked in decades came to life. Cold pipes groaned. Sparks flew from broken panels. The main AI, damaged but not dead, began to wake up far below in the cryo chamber. Captain Elias Harrow opened his eyes. He gasped for air. Ice melted on his face. His heart pounded. His skin burned from the sudden warmth. He reached out with shaking hands and pressed the emergency button on the side of his S. cryo-pod.cryo chamber unlocked. He fell out, coughing hard, hitting the metal floor. His muscles ached. His body had aged during cryosleep. Not much, but enough to feel it. "Where am I?" he whispered. The room was dark. Only backup lights glowed red. There was dust everywhere and silence. Silence so deep it hurt. Then the voice came. "Captain Harrow, you have been reactivated. Earth is under threat. Crew status, 87% deceased. Command required. Threat." Harrow struggled to stand. What kind of threat? Unknown fleet. Massive. Approaching Earth. Defense systems offline. You are the last warship in range. Captain Harrow stared at the console in front of him. He remembered the Drekken. He remembered the battles. But that war had ended, hadn't it? "I need a crew," he said. 4 living crew members remain. Waking them now. Gout. In another part of the ship, old cryopods hissed open. A young pilot named Jenna, a mechanic named Torres, a comms officer named Malik, and an AI technician named Lynn were all awakened, each one confused, freezing and coughing, just like Harrow. They all met on the bridge 30 minutes later. The bridge was barely working. Half the screens were dead. The lights flickered. Dust floated in the air. Like ghostly snow? What the hell happened to the ship? Torres asked. "Same thing that happened to us," Harrow said. "They forgot." "Forgot?" Jenna raised an eyebrow. "They stopped believing war would come again, so they let us rot out here." Long silence followed. Then Lynn spoke. "Signal. It's real. An unknown fleet destroyed Earth's outer defense grid. They're heading in system. Fast." "How many ships?" Lynn swallowed. "Too many. Hundreds." Torres cursed. "We're supposed to stop them with this flying coffin?" Harrow looked out the cracked bridge window. "No," he said. "We're supposed to slow them down." In the hangar bay, the crew worked. Fast. The ship's weapons hadn't been used in years. Most were rusted. Missiles were unstable. Energy shields were non-functional. The AI could barely control half the ship, but still they worked. Malik tried to get external comms online. Torres repaired old engine cores using scrap from nearby wrecks. Jenna ran power through old weapons, one by one, till something sparked to life. "I got one cannon working," she said, "but it overheats after a single shot." "We might only get one shot anyway," Harrow replied. Lynn stayed by the AI core, patching memory blocks and restoring fire control software. "We can't win," she said softly. "We don't have to win," Harrow replied. "We just have to buy Earth time." 6 hours later, the radar picked up movement. The unknown fleet had reached Neptune. Huge ships, strange signals, not Drekken, something new, bigger, smarter. They didn't respond to hails. They didn't answer questions. They simply destroyed everything in their path. Satellites, stations, civilian ships. And they were heading straight for Earth. "Estimated arrival, 72 hours, Lynn said. Captain Harrow stood in front of the crew. His voice was tired but firm. This ship was built in an old war. It was built by people who believed in standing their ground even when outgunned, even when forgotten. He looked around at the damaged walls, the broken screens, the 4 crew members still loyal to Earth. I know we're outdated, I know we're weak, but this ship still flies. And if we go down fighting. Nobody spoke. Then Jenna smiled and strapped into her pilot seat. Well, let's make them bleed. The Retribution turned slowly, its engine shaking from age and rust. It crawled forward like a wounded beast toward the unknown fleet. It was just one ship, old, broken, alone, but in the dark space beyond Neptune. The last warship had awakened, and it was ready to fight. Captain Elias Harrow sat alone in his ready room. The walls were cracked. The lights buzzed softly above his head. A single photograph sat on the table in front of him, an old picture of his crew from 20 years ago. Most of them were gone now. He stared at the photo for a long time. His hand trembled as he picked it up. The young faces smiled back at him. Brave, proud. Now just memories in a rusted ship. The door behind him hissed open. It was Jenna, the pilot. "You okay, Captain?" she asked quietly. Harrow didn't answer right away. He placed the photo face down and stood up. "I'm fine." She didn't believe him. She didn't push. "We just finished running a systems check," she said. "We've got one cannon working, half shields at best. The engines are unstable above 30% thrust." Harrow nodded. "What about comms?" Malik got a signal through to Mars Colony, but there was no reply. "We don't know if anyone's alive over there." "Keep trying," Harrow said. She hesitated. "At the door, sir? What do we do if no one answers?" Harrow looked out the window. The stars stared back, cold and empty. "Then we fight alone." In the bridge, Lynn was working on the AI core. Sweat dripped from her forehead as she connected. 2 fried circuits with a trembling hand. "Core temperature rising," the ship's AI said. Its voice was glitchy and weak. "I know," Lynn replied. "You'll live." A spark jumped. Lynn yelped and fell back. Her fingers burned. "Careless movement," the AI said. "You may need rest." Lynn laughed bitterly. "We'll all get rest if we die. Now shut up and let me work." The AI paused, then replied in a softer voice. Acknowledged. Malik sat in the comms chair, surrounded by broken panels and dead screens. He adjusted knobs and repeated his message again. "This is ESV Retribution. Hostile fleet approaching Earth. We are engaging. Request backup. Repatriate request backup." Nothing but static. He leaned back and sighed. Nobody's listening. Suddenly, a crackling sound came through. Retribution. "This is Outpost. K7, you're not alone." Malik jumped up. "Captain, we got something." Harrow rushed onto the bridge. "What did they say?" Malik played the message again. The voice was faint, almost broken. "Retribution. This is Outpost K7. We saw your signal. We're low on weapons, but we're with you. We'll delay them if we can. Earth must survive." Then silence. Harrow stared at the screen. "They're going to fight too." Jenna swallowed hard. "They're just an outpost. Probably a small one." Harrow looked at her. "So are we." Later, the crew gathered in the mess hall. It was cold and dim. The heating system barely worked, but they needed a moment to breathe. Torres handed out food, packets dry, tasteless old, dinner fit for heroes, said with a tired smile. They all sat quietly, chewing slowly. Nobody spoke, until Harrow broke the silence. "I never thought I'd see space again," he said. "When they put us in cryo, they said we'd only be awakened for the final war." "Well," said Torres, "I guess this is it." Lynn looked up from her tray. "Why didn't Earth build new ships?" "They did," Harrow said, "but they forgot how to fight. They built ships with no soul, machines with no heart. They retired old captains like me. Put A is in command." Jenna raised her brow. "But you're not retired anymore." Harrow smirked. "Apparently not." Malik looked around. "We've got maybe 1 or 2 good attacks in us before they wipe us out. That's all we need," Harrow said. "We don't stop them. We delay them. Give Earth time to wake up, to fight back." Torres raised his cup. "Then here's to the broken ship, and the broken crew. They all raised their drinks. Let's make our last stand count. In the engine room, fires flickered as Torres restarted one of the secondary reactors. "Come on, old girl," he muttered. "One last run." The engine roared to life, shaking the walls. For a moment it felt like the ship remembered who it once was, a hunter in the stars, from space. The Retribution looked like a dying relic, but inside it was alive again. Old systems online, crew at stations, weapons primed. The enemy fleet moved. Closer, massive, cold, silent, and Earth's last warship was waiting. Out near Neptune's orbit, space was dark and quiet. Then, without sound or warning, something appeared. Dozens of massive enemy ships dropped out of warp. They were black like coal, with sharp edges and glowing red cores. They moved in formation, like machines, but faster than anything human. On the bridge of the Retribution, Jenna saw them first. "They're here," she said in a low voice. The crew gathered around the old radar screen. Red dots blinked. 5:20:50. "They're not scouts," Lynn whispered. This is a full fleet." Harrow stood behind her. "Scan them." Ship's AI replied slowly. "Still damaged. Ship's unknown. Power levels high. Hulls thick armor. Weapons unknown. Fleet size approaching 87 vessels." The room went quiet. Malik stared at the screen. "They're heading straight toward Earth. Estimated time to Earth orbit. 49 hours, Lynn said. "And they're destroying everything in their path," Jenna added. "Satellites, stations, civilian traffic." "They're not talking," Harrow said. "No signals, no warnings, just killing." Torres clenched his fists. "We have to hit them now. We can't wait." Captain didn't reply. He just stared at the screen. Then he nodded. "Prepare the cannon. We'll fire the first shot." In the weapons bay, Jenna powered up the ship's one working plasma cannon. The old controls shook. Warning lights blinked red. "We only get one clean shot before it overheats," she said. "Make it count," Torres replied, placing an old warhead next to her. Lynn guided targeting from the bridge. Enemy cruiser approaching. In their back line, fire when ready. Inside the enemy fleet, the lead vessel looked like a black pyramid. No windows. No crew visible. It moved like a shark in still water. Suddenly, a blue beam of light flashed across space. The Retribution had fired. The shot flew past 4 enemy ships, then hit the 5th one directly in the middle. For a moment, nothing happened. Then dash boom. Enemy ship exploded in a silent wave of flame and metal. One of the huge black cruisers was gone. Dead silence followed. Then chaos. On the Retribution, Malik shouted, "They're reacting." The whole fleet just turned. "They found us," Jenna said. "Time to impact?" Harrow asked. Lynn checked. 8 minutes. Full speed. "Power to engines," the captain ordered. Torres pushed the throttle. The ship groaned and rattled as it moved forward. "We're not going to outrun them," Jenna said. "We're not." "Trying to," Harrow replied. "We're leading them away from Earth." Outside, the enemy ships changed formation. They moved like a swarm, no brakes, no delay. They didn't send one ship. They sent all of them. "They're afraid," Malik said. "We hit them harder than they expected." "They're angry," Harrow corrected. "Good. Let them chase us." The ship turned away from Earth, toward deep space. It was a trap, but a desperate one. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships broke off from the group. "They're faster," Jenna warned. "One's gaining on us." Double quotes. Lynn checked radar. "One frigate. Medium class. Armed. Coming straight at us. Ready weapons," Harrow ordered. Jenna tried to aim the overheated cannon. Still cooling. 10 more seconds. "Brace for impact." Malik shouted. The enemy frigate fired first. A red energy bolt slammed into the Retribution's rear engine. Alarms screamed. The ship shook violently. "We've lost engine 2, Torres yelled. "Ah!" "Fire in the aft section." "Damage control." "Teams to rear," Harrow shouted. The ship rolled sideways, slow and weak, but still alive. Cannon ready. Jenna yelled. Fire! The plasma beam launched again. It hit the enemy frigate straight in the nose. The ship cracked in half like glass and drifted into pieces. Cheers filled the bridge, but it didn't last. There are still 86 more coming, Lynn reminded them. In space, more enemy ships began spreading out. They weren't just following anymore. They were surrounding. They're trying to cut us off, Malik said. They're learning fast. They expected a ghost ship, Harrow said. Instead, they found a fighting one. Jenna smirked. Let's teach them a few more old tricks. Down in the engine room, Torres rerouted power from the cargo bay to the shields. We can hold 2 more hits, Max. He told Harrow through Coombs. On the bridge, Lynn and Malik scrambled to boost. Come signals again, we need to warn Earth, Malik said. Even if we die, someone has to know what's coming. Boost signal and record everything, Harrow said. Start the transmission now. Malik flipped the switch. To any human forces. This is the ESV Retribution. We've engaged. An unknown enemy fleet near Neptune. They're heading for Earth. This is not a drill. We've destroyed 2 ships. But we can't hold them all. Be ready. Fight smart. Fight hard. Retribution out. The message was sent, and as the enemy fleet closed in, the old warship turned to face them again. Outgunned, outdated, unbroken. The Retribution was bleeding. Panels sparked. Fires burned in 3 corridors. The engine room was flooded with smoke. And the shields were almost gone, but the ship still moved. Still fought, Captain Harrow stood at the center of the bridge, gripping the railing as sparks fell behind him. Status, he said through clenched teeth. Engine 3 is failing, Torres shouted over the alarms. Shields are at 12%. Is cracked in 2 places. AI core is glitching again, Lynn added. And we've got 2 enemy ships closing in. The old warship shook again. Another hit slammed into their left side. Jenna checked the cannon. We've got maybe 1 shot left. Malik wiped blood from his forehead. We need a miracle. Captain Harrow didn't blink, and we'll make one. Outside the enemy, fleet was splitting into hunting groups. Smaller units moved fast, each one targeting the Retribution from a different angle. They had learned they weren't just chasing anymore. They were hunting. But they didn't expect what came next. Harrow turned to Jenna. Take us into the ship graveyard. She hesitated. The wreck field. It's a maze. Exactly, he said. They turned sharply and dove into the old battlefield, an endless field of dead ships. Drifting since the last Great War. Broken hulls. Giant steel skeletons. Rusted turrets. All silent. Jenna flew low and fast, weaving. Between broken cruisers and shattered carriers. Hold tight, she warned. This is going to get messy. Behind them, 2 enemy ships followed. They fired, but missed. Their shots hit old wrecks instead, sending metals spinning in all directions, inside the graveyard. The Retribution vanished from radar. Jenna flew. Under a torn dreadnought, past a spinning fighter, and ducked between 2 crushed escape pods. This is crazy, Malik said. They'll crush us in here. No, Harrow said. We know this place. They don't. He turned to Torres. Rig 1 of the old ships. Fill it with explosives. Remote trigger. Torres grinned. Now you're thinking like a pirate. Torres suited up, jumped out through the side bay, and landed on a dead destroyer. Nearby, he carried a small black box, the last EMP mine in storage. He worked fast, planting the charge deep inside the rusted belly of the broken ship. 1 enemy frigate flew by overhead. Too late, Torres dove for cover and hit the trigger. Boom. A chain explosion erupted. Fire raced through 3 wrecks in a row. The enemy frigate was caught in the blast, tripped apart by rusted steel and fire. Back on the bridge, cheers rang out. 1 down, Lynn said, smiling for the first time. Jenna pointed to radar. 2nd ship still coming. Faster this time. Line up the cannon, Harrow said. It's barely charged, Jenna shouted. Use whatever we've got. The 2nd enemy ship flew through the graveyard fast, dodging wreckage with ease. It had better thrusters. It's better targeting. Newer tech. But it didn't know desperation like the Retribution did. Lin rerouted power from life support to the main gun. Malik stood by the manual trigger. Cannon ready. Wait for it, Harrow said. The enemy ship turned lined up for the kill shot. Now. Malik pulled the trigger. The cannon fired. The plasma bolt hit dead center. The enemy ship spun, hit an old station hull, and exploded in a wave of heat and metal. Silence. No new ships in view. The wreck field gave them cover for now. The crew sat in silence, breathing hard. "We're still alive," Jenna said softly. "But for how long?" Lin whispered. Malik looked at Harrow. "We bought time, but Earth doesn't even know what's coming." "It will," Harrow said. "We've got one last signal boost left. Aim it at Earth's moon base. Hope someone's listening." Later, alone in the ready room, Harrow listened to the sound of old engines humming. He stared at a cracked metal plate on the wall. It had 3 words carved into it, from the war long ago. "Rage keeps us." He touched it with his hand. "We may be rusted," he said softly, "but we're not done." Down in the hangar. Torres opened a crate marked classified. Inside was something no one had touched in 60 years. Experimental drone. Fast, small, armed. He smiled. "Might be time to test you out." Lin repaired more of the AI core. Its voice was stronger now, "Captain. We're severely outnumbered." "I know," Harrow replied. "Your chance of survival is 4.2%. Harrow chuckled. "That high, huh?" The enemy regrouped, and the sky burned with wreckage. The Retribution floated through the graveyard like a ghost with a sword, rust on its hull, rage in its heart. The stars were quiet again. Burning wreckage floated through space like black snow. The battle was over. For now, the Retribution drifted beside Earth's iron fleet, damaged. But alive, Captain Harrow stood on the cracked bridge, looking at the screen. "They ran." "But they'll be back," Malik said. Stronger, Jenna added. "Smarter." Lin nodded, and angry. Then the screen flickered. Torres checked the panel. "We're picking up something. A new signal. It's not from Earth," Malik said. The crew froze. The voice that came next wasn't human. It was cold, calm, but it spoke in English. "To the humans who have awakened their dead machines. We did not come to destroy you. We came to test you." Everyone stared. Harrow leaned forward, put it on speakers. The voice continued. "We watched you grow. We saw you fall silent. We believed Earth was finished, weak, lost. But now, we see we were wrong." Torres frowned. "Is this a trick?" Jenna shook her head. "No, this is something else." The message went on. "Your rusted ships, your outdated weapons, they bled us. You held your line with broken tools. We expected a whimper. Instead, we met fire. We are not gods. We are seekers. We travel the stars not to conquer, but to find those who can stand, who can resist, who still understand war." Malik's voice shook. "This was all a test? A test that cost thousands of lives," Lin said bitterly. "They wanted to see if we were still dangerous," Harrow said. "And now they know." The voice spoke again. "We leave you now, but we will return. Not as enemies unless you choose to be. In 1 Earth year, we will return to speak, or to finish what we started." Then the signal cut. Silence. Only. The soft hum of the broken ship remained. No one spoke for a long time. Later, deep in Earth's orbit, the leaders of the Iron Fleet gathered. Commander Dre stood before a map of the system. "They won't leave forever," he said. "This wasn't just a test. This was a warning." Riker nodded on the screen. "They wanted to see what we'd do when pushed, and we showed them," Jenna said. "But now what?" Lin asked. Malik looked out the window at the burning. "Rex, they're bigger than us, smarter, but they made a mistake." "What mistake?" Torres asked. Malik turned. "They reminded Earth who we are. Down on Earth, the Council, once silent now, begged for protection. Civilians marched in the streets not with fear, but pride. The name Retribution was on every screen, a rusted ship that refused to die, a broken crew that refused to give up back in the hangar." Torres was rebuilding the drone this time with improvements. "Will need more of these," he said. "If they come back." "Not if," Jenna replied. "When?" The AI on the Retribution finally came online fully. Its voice was smooth now. "Captain Harrow, may I speak?" "Go ahead," Harrow said. "My historical files are clear. In Earth's darkest moments, it does not kneel. It grows teeth." Harrow chuckled. "Good, because we'll need them." At Earth's northern base, new shipyards began construction. The Iron Fleet was not going back to sleep. No more hiding, no more silence. Torres painted something on the side of the Retribution. It was crude, rusty, but bold. "We still stand." And far away, beyond Neptune's edge, the Seekers watched quiet, waiting in 1 year. They would return, and Earth would answer again with rusted steel and burning rage. 1 year passed. Earth did not forget. Factories worked day and night. New warships rose from old bones. The Iron Fleet was rebuilt faster, stronger. But the Retribution remained unchanged. She stayed rusted, scar still on her hull, because she had become a symbol, not of power, but of defiance. On the moon, Commander Riker stared at the stars. They said. "They'd return today," he said. Malik stood beside him. "I hope they remember what happened the last time. Hope they don't forget," Torres added with a grin. "I've been fixing missiles for 6 months." In orbit, Earth's new defense ring glowed bright. Thousands of platforms, missile bays, lasers, all ready. But something felt different this time. Not fear, even anger. Readiness inside the Retribution, Captain Harrow walked the bridge. The old crew was still there. Lynn ran systems checks. Jenna monitored the scans. Torres cleaned his tools with care. Malik kept the comms open, listening for that voice again. And it came. A cold, calm voice, familiar now. "We are here, humans," as promised. On the radar, 20 ships, sleek, silent. No weapons armed. "We come not to test, but to speak." Harrow sat in his chair, put it through. The screen lit up. A seeker, tall gray skin, no eyes, no mouth. But somehow he spoke. "You have changed in 1 year." "You gave us a reason," Harrow replied. "You do not fear us?" "No," Malik said. "We fear forgetting who we are." The seeker paused. "We have searched the stars for strength. You showed it with rusted steel, with broken fire. Why? What?" Leaned forward. "We still stand," he said simply. "That's all that matters." The seeker looked at each crew member. "You did not win because of weapons. You won because you refused to die." Torres nodded. "That's Earth's real weapon. Silence, then," the seeker said. "Then hear our offer. Not war, not peace. But warning, there are worse things coming. Machines without souls. Beasts that do not speak. We once fought them. We ran. We never stopped running. But you might stand a chance." Jenna whispered. "They want us to fight. With them." Malik looked at Harrow. "Should we trust them?" Harrow thought for a moment, then said, "Only if they stop testing us." The seeker nodded. "Then you are no longer the tested. You are now the shield. The first line. Earth will be the warning to the others." It left. No attacks. No tricks. Just silence and stars. Weeks passed. A message went out from Earth to every human colony. A message from the Retribution itself. Harrow stood on the deck, the crew behind him. Cameras rolled. He spoke slowly, clearly, to all who hear. We were outgunned. We were outdated. But we were never broken. When the sky burned, we didn't kneel. We rose. We are Earth, and we still stand. The message echoed through space, across moons, across ships, across time, and far beyond the stars. Something dark stirred. The real enemy had seen the broadcast. The real war hadn't begun yet, but Earth was no longer asleep. It was waiting. Far below the wreck fields, Earth spun in silence. Cities slept. People worked, unaware that death was moving through the stars. Then, a single signal reached the moon. It was broken, full of static, but it was enough. This is ESV Retribution. Enemy fleet. Closing in on Earth. We've destroyed 4. Need support. Earth must fight. The signal cut inside the Lunar Command Center. Commander Riker leaned forward, frowning at the screen. "Replay it," he said, the technician. Did Riker's eyes narrowed? "That ship was decommissioned 20 years ago. It was put in cryo-storage," another officer added. "Last of the Cold Steel fleet. But someone woke her up," Riker said. "She's fighting again." 3 hours later, a meeting was called deep under Earth's surface in the old war room. 5 generals sat around a metal table. Cold lights flickered above them. "We thought the enemy was just a rumor." One general said. "They're real," Riker replied, "and they're coming fast." Another general leaned back. "Then why hasn't the council responded?" "They're scared. They built ships for show, not for war," Riker said. "The Retribution was made for war, and it's alone." Someone added. Riker stood. Not for long. Back on the Retribution, Malik worked the comms again. No reply yet. "But I think the signal got through." Lynn looked up from the AI core. "Even if it did, Earth won't help. They gave up on warships. They'll hide." "Maybe," Malik said. "But maybe someone down there still remembers how to fight." Torres was in the drone bay, fitting an old nuclear payload onto the drone's back. "You really think this thing can fly?" Jenna asked, watching from behind. Torres smirked. "She's ugly, but she's fast. Like me. You're not fast." "I'm faster than you? Only when running from explosions." In space, the enemy regrouped. They were angry now. A full wing of ships 12 cruises broke off and headed for the Retribution's last known location. "They're sweeping the wreck field," Lynn said. "We've got maybe 40 minutes before they reach us again. Then we strike first," Harrow said. He turned to Torres. "Is the drone ready?" Torres gave a thumbs up, ready to deliver pain. The plan was risky. They launched the drone silently, letting it drift through the wreckage like space junk. Once it reached the edge of the field, the Retribution sent a fake distress beacon. The enemy took the bait. 3 cruisers broke formation and turned to investigate the signal. They didn't see the drone. Not until it was too close. Malik pressed the trigger. Boom. The nuclear flash lit the stars. 2 ships were vaporized. One drifted, broken and smoking. On the Retribution, the crew watched in silence. "That was our last bomb," Torres said. "But not our last fight," Harrow replied. Then something strange happened. A message blinked. On Malik's screen, he leaned in, eyes wide. "Captain." Everyone turned. "Put it on," Harrow ordered. The speaker crackled. "This is Commander Riker, Lunar Defense. We received your signal. Earth is preparing its forces. Hold the line. Reinforcements are coming." Malik smiled. "They heard us." Riker wasn't finished. "Also, we've authorized the activation of the Iron Wakes program. You'll know what that means." Harrow froze. His face went pale. "Is that real?" Lynn asked. Jenna looked confused. "What's Iron Wakes?" Harrow turned slowly. "It's the final protocol. Earth's secret defense. Ships we never launched. Commanders we never woke. Sleep fleets," Torres said. "I thought it was a myth." "It's not," Harrow said. "Last war leaders deep underground in cryo chambers, along with real weapons, real warships." "Ah!" "And now they're waking up," Malik said. "Across Earth. Deep bunkers began to open. Old warriors from past wars were pulled from cryosleep. Their eyes opened slowly, blinking in the bright lights. Steel doors groaned open as hidden hangars rose from beneath the soil. Dust-covered ships hummed to life ships built for war, not politics. The planet that once disarmed itself was waking up, and it was angry. Back in space, the enemy fleet paused. They had seen the Retribution's tricks. They had underestimated the humans once. They wouldn't again. 20 ships moved together, forming a spear. Lynn looked at the radar. "They're charging in full force. No more hunting. It's just a full attack." Harrow looked out the window, his voice steady. "Then they'll meet rage, steel, an Earth's answer. As the first Earth reinforcements launched from the moon, and cryo commanders gripped controls again after decades of sleep, the Retribution powered up what little it had left. One last fight before the tide turned. Rust on the hull, rage in the heart, and finally, hope in the stars. The stars trembled, not from enemy fire, but from Earth's answer, far below and hidden. Valleys and old deserts, giant bunkers opened like metal mouths. For decades, no one had touched them. Now they roared to life. Massive platforms rose from the ground, dust cleared. And from deep inside came the sound of power raw. Earth's true warships were waking, in a silent underground chamber. A hand moved. It belonged to Commander Dre, one of the last Iron Fleet leaders from the old war. His eyes opened slowly. His body was cold, but his mind was sharp. He saw the red lights above and read the words flashing on the glass. Wake Protocol, Code Rage. God. He sat up. Across the hall, more cryopods hissed open. More soldiers, men and women frozen in time, stepped out and looked. At the screens, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. They remembered what Earth had hidden them for. High above. Malik looked at the radar. New blips were appearing near Earth's orbit. Dozens. Then hundreds. Jenna gasped. Those aren't enemy ships? No, Harrow said. They're ours. Lynn stared at the feed. Designs match nothing modern. These are old-class dreadnoughts. Heavy guns, thick armor, no AI controls. Torres smiled. Real ships, built to bleed. Built to win. From Earth's dark side, a fleet of ancient warships lifted off. The first was the ESV Titan, black with iron plating and twin railguns on both flanks. Behind it, the Hammerfall, Brimstone, and Wake's Reaper. There were no smooth curves. No diplomatic lights, only steel, rust, firepower, and rage. Commander Dre stood on the bridge of the Titan, his voice low but full of command. Set course for Neptune. No mercy, no surrender. Back in the wreck field, the Retribution shook again. Direct hit, Torres shouted. Shields gone, starboard thrusters failing. Lynn added. Main cannon offline, Jenna said. They're tearing us apart. Harrow stood tall. We hold, just a little longer. Another blast rocked the ship. One engine caught fire. They're trying to destroy us before help arrives, Malik said. We've done our job, Harrow said quietly. We lit the signal. Then the stars flashed. Out of the dark Earth's fleet arrived. The Titan came first. Weapons already firing. A full barrage hit the enemy's lead cruiser, smashing it into pieces in seconds. The Brimstone followed with a barrage of missiles-heavy warheads that had been locked away for 50 years. One after another, Earth's old warships ripped into the enemy fleet. Inside the Retribution, the crew stared in shock. There, winning, Jenna whispered. Lynn smiled. I've never seen weapons like that, not even in history files. They were locked away, Harrow said, because Earth feared using them again. Malik leaned forward. I don't think we fear anymore. The enemy ships tried to regroup. They broke off from the Retribution and turned toward the larger threat. But the Iron Fleet didn't blink. Commander Dre gave one command. Advance. Break them. The Titan and its sister ships moved like hammers. One enemy cruiser exploded, then another, then 5. They fired back, but the Iron Fleet didn't dodge. They took the hits. Their hulls burned. But they didn't stop. Back on the Retribution, power flickered. Torres pulled wires with his bare hands. I can get shields back online, just not for long. Even a minute would help, Harrow said. Do it. Lynn stared at the comms panel. Captain, someone's calling us. Harrow walked over and pressed the button. The screen lit up with an old, weathered face. Commander Dre, you lit the fire, Dre said. Now step back. We'll finish this. Harrow smiled. Welcome back, Commander. For the first time in decades, Earth wasn't defending. It was attacking. And the enemy, so calm, so calculated, was starting to break. The enemy flagship began retreating. Warping to the far side of Neptune, Malik pointed at the screen. There. Running. Not all of them, Jenna said. Some are staying behind, like they're sacrificing themselves. They didn't expect Earth to wake up like this, Harrow said. They thought we were soft. But we were only sleeping, Torres added, as the last wave of Earth warships jumped in. The stars above Neptune turned into a battlefield of light. One last transmission came from the Titan. To the unknown enemy fleet. Earth remembers how. To fight? Turn back now, or be erased. No response came, only silence. And then fired the Retribution, barely holding together. Drifted beside the Titan as the battle calmed, scars across its hull, smoke still rising from its vents, but its flag still flew, unbroken.